original creepypastas gets his own feature-length film, Slenderman. And this is what we got. What's up, universe, and welcome back to the web's first must-see comic and nerd culture show. Welcome to Comic Universe, guys. I am your host, as always, C-Dubs, and I'm riding solo on this video. Guys, and I'm here today to do another daunting task, if you will. I'm going to give you guys a review of Slenderman. Now, I know this movie came out a while ago, further in the year, but it just recently came out on Blu-ray, if you will, and Redbox. I think maybe about a month and a half ago, give or take. Somewhere in between October and Thanksgiving. But little known fact, I love Slenderman. I love the concept of Slenderman. I love how eerie he is. I love Slender the video game. I love the 8 pages. I like the mythos. Marble Hornets movie, loved it. I've watched many different just urban legends and things like that about it on the internet when it first came out. It really impacted my life in a major way. Especially he came out in a time where horror wasn't doing so well. It's somewhat coming into another renaissance, if you will, with like the likes of It, if you will, and Get Out. So horror is starting to find its niche again. And, you know, back when Slenderman first kind of hit the scene, he was something that I was like, well, it may not be in the silver screen, but at least I got something, right? And so I've been super excited about this movie, even though the trailer was really bad. And I didn't get around to seeing it in the movie theaters, and because I heard some bad things, and I just was like, But, you know, Redbox, it's $1. What the heck? Why not? So me and the wife watched it last night, and we're going to give you the full review here, guys. I'm going to give you the good, I'm going to give you the bad, I'm going to give you the badass. All right? As always. And then we give you our rating. So first and foremost, I just got to say, this movie is something else. This movie really, really, really is something else. Basic plot of the film, 4 girls in a small town, don't generally like their life, if you will. One girl just kind of wants to move on with her life, kind of start dating boys and not necessarily be around all the girls, if you will. She kind of wants to start venturing out. One is really smart and they kind of pick on her and tease her. The other one has a drunk father and doesn't want to be stuck in this town for the rest of her life. And the other is just the other girl, if you will. So, the good. The girls in this film look like your average everyday girls, if you will. Girls you could see next door. They're not, and again, this is not not trying to disrespect her or any woman, but they're not supermodels. They're not what you normally see in these slasher teen films, especially of the 2000 era, if you will. Just these skinny model types, if you will. And these girls are not like that. These girls really do feel like you could just knock on your neighbor's door and his daughter would answer, and that's what she would look like, an average everyday girl. And I gotta commend them for that. It's so easy for you just to go, okay, she's pretty, guys will come see her, women want to be her, let's put her on screen, if you will, right? And another really good thing, I did not catch the actress's name because that's how much this movie weighed on my conscience, if you will, after watching it. But if you do see this movie, or if you have seen this movie, you'll know who I'm talking about. She's the really book smart one. She's the one that kind of did all the research to the lore of Slenderman once Slenderman started affecting her. Her acting, I think, is really, really good for such a craptastic movie, to be honest with you. While it started affecting her, she started seeing things and she started reacting to paranoia and being just kind of starting to lose her mind and lose hope and seemed desperate to try to stop this from happening to them. And she played that role perfectly. Like, I believed everything that was happening to her. The rest of the cast, not so much. They were just kind of there for a paycheck, it felt like. I can't really say much more other than that. The rest of the cast just felt like they were there. And that was that. That's about all. In the fact that you actually get to see Slenderman in a film that was on TV, that is another plus. Just to kind of get to see him, that was cool. All right. Now for the bad. And there's going to be a lot of bad. All right. So, just the fact that you got to see him wasn't enough. He looked terrible. This is some of the worst CGI I've ever seen in a movie, in a major motion picture that hit the movie theaters. Absolutely terrible. It looked cut and paste. There were scenes where you saw him, and yeah, Slender Man doesn't always move. I get that, and sometimes, the picture and imagery of him is enough. But when you see that he's just like cut out and just placed in a shot, and nothing else happens, or then you see bad CGI that don't match the color shade of the cutout, if you will, just kind of the tentacles, behind him, it can get really daunting, and it just was really just cringeworthy, if you will, and I just couldn't really deal with it. I was just turning my head and shaking my head and face palming constantly every time I really saw him in action. Or it would be like him, like in this motion, and he'd be coming at you towards the screen, but he wouldn't be really moving. He would just be moving towards you, and it's just not good representation. It was terrible. It really was. And sometimes you saw his face, and it just looked like a plaster mold, if you will, like a clay plaster mold that you'd watch on Sci-Fi's Face Off. They pull it out, and there it is, no paint on it, still kind of scratchy, if you will, or marked up, and I didn't feel it at all. It was not good at all. I didn't like it. Again, the acting terrible from almost the rest of the entire cast. The fact that the parents were not in this film at all, like they were not in it to like the. There's like one scene in the beginning and one scene at the very end where they were kind of involved in their children's lives, and I'm just like, that's not really the way. And I get it, they don't have to be the focal point, but just where are they? They're walking around at like 2 a.m. on the street down an alleyway or to another girl's home, and I'm just like, where are you during this time frame? It's like this dude would just, there was a scene where one of the girls, she turned up missing, so her father was getting desperate, and of course it was the drunk guy. He was getting desperate. He was missing his daughter. He was scared. He was worried. He kind of broke into another girl's house and started blaming her. He's like, it was your fault she got into the occult stuff, blah, 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 blah. All right, parents come home. This dude gets arrested. You would think you would keep your daughter a little closer after this guy just broke into your home and essentially was shaking the shit out of her. Oh, no, parents aren't there until the end of the movie again because their other daughter is sick. Whoever wrote this movie, you had one job, right? And this movie tries so hard to rely on these stupid jump scares. Listen, man, Hollywood, listen to me. We don't want jump scares. And if you do get them, they have to be organic and a jump scare for a reason. You can get away with one, maybe two, the guy's looking out the window and the bird hits the window, and there's no other reason for that bird to hit the window other than it was just to jump scare you. You get one. You get one of those. Okay, you maybe 2 at best. Any more than that, you just don't know what you're doing anymore, and stop it. Make it organic. If you're going to make something jump out to get you, make it jump out to get you. Make me jump, and then I'm still at the edge of my seat after jumping because this thing or creature or person or killer is after them. Okay, keep me on the edge of my seat, or build me up, and then let it all happen. Just don't make me go, oh, because you hit me with a loud scare. It's so dumb. And there's a scene when they introduce, as they call him, Abercrombie, if you will. The young boy starts talking to one of the girls who's being infected by the Slenderman virus. And that's basically how they kind of associate what's happening to them. So in her mind, he starts kind of shaking his head and stomping in like weird, stupid facial poses. And there's literally, no, please, guys, don't click off the video when I make this face. He's like shaking his head and he's like, I'm like, what the I looked at my wife. My wife looked at me and I was like, you want me to turn it off? She goes, it's almost over. She's like, there's like 10 minutes left. Let's just get through it. And I'm just like, what the hell? I was just total crap-tastic. Could not stand it at all. And it is just so bad. Like, if his face just would have kept shaking out of control, that would have been more scary than making stupid faces. It was just, I could not believe what I was watching. It was the worst movie I've seen all of 2018. When we do our lists of all the movies we watch, our favorite movies of the year, in my case, I keep a list of all the movies I have watched for 2018. I can't see that there being a worse movie than this. And if you've seen a worse movie than this, please let me know in the comments below, because sometimes I enjoy watching bad movies just so that I can see how bad it could possibly be. And sometimes you cross that line where you're so bad you're good, where you come back around full circle. But this movie did not. All right, so let's talk about the badass. All right, there is a little bit of badass to this movie. The first and foremost is the fact that we got a Slenderman movie. That's enough, I guess. That's pretty cool. Unfortunately, I think it hurts the franchise and hurts the lore enough to where we probably won't see another Slenderman movie for at least 5 to 10 years. And some may say that's for the best, and I know some people may be Slenderman burned out. Okay, but if you can get a good one, I'm sure we would be on board. Alright, so the next badass thing was when they're explaining some of the lore, they do some pretty interesting things to kind of make it seem like, that Slenderman is a shadow person. I'm sure you guys have heard of the Shadow Men lore. And also kind of somewhat connect him to the Pied Piper, which I myself, I don't know if that's a common thing within the Slenderman lore, but I myself have never really noticed that or caught on to that. And I thought that was kind of cool, to where he comes in and infects the children, takes the children, and goes off on his merry way with them. And you never really know what happens to them. And it dates that far back, and it brought some life and some mystique to that urban legend or story, if you will, of the Pied Piper coming in. If you're not familiar with the Pied Piper, essentially the Pied Piper said he could get rid of all the rats. If they paid him a certain amount of money, they gypped him on the money, and instead of, coming with his pipe to hypnotize all the rats and get rid of all the rats out of town, he hypnotizes all the children, and he takes everyone's children. They all wake up the next day and there's no kids in the town. So, and that was his payment. So I thought that was really cool. I was really hyped when that part came around, but after that, honestly, the movie just continues to tank and tank and tank. So guys, I'm gonna give this a complete 0 star out of 5 for you guys. Don't go see this movie if you can avoid it. If you're into torture and you have $1 to spend, it's at the Red Box. Feel free. If you did see it and liked it, tell me in the bottom below, what did you like about it? What did I miss? Like, maybe it's just not for me. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting old. I don't know, guys. But I doubt it. I'm a huge horror buff. And it is what it is. There is a Marble Hornets documentary-style film out there that you could actually see on Hulu. Not Hulu. I think it was on Amazon Prime. If you see that one's far more better. And the Slenderman in that movie, he's just a guy with a stocking on his face, okay? And, he's supposed to be the real Slenderman, but you could see it's just basically a guy with a white stocking over his face. And he was a million times better. I actually enjoyed that movie. Alright, guys, and we actually did a review for our 31-day Halloween horror movie challenge. Check that out if you're interested. But I think it was, again, on Amazon Prime. Check it out, guys. Anyway, guys, don't forget to Hulk smash that like button like you mean it. Show it who's boss. And don't forget to subscribe and become part of the world's most mightiest subscribers, guys. And until next time, I'm C-Dubs, and I'll see you in the universe. Peace.